Welcome back to my channel again. So today I will talk to you about the 13 things that I don't like about this Zontes X310.
Can I be your superhero?
Let's go ahead and check it out. So based on the last episode, you guys know that how to start this bike. It's very simple, straightforward. But the only thing that bugs me a lot is the way to shut this bike out. Because usually we will have the key to shut it down. So we might thought that it's this button, but it doesn't do anything. So the first thing to do is you have to switch off the ignition. And what to do next if you want to lock your bike or so. So you have to press and hold the switch until it beeps. Then only it's off. So to me, the conventional key is much faster, as I can just twist and lock and go. Next thing that I dislike about the Zontes is the signal, the switch. So usually our bikes will be once you flick it, then you can press to the middle to reset it. But for this model is you have to slide it back to the middle, only it resets. So sometimes you will overdo it and it will go to the other side of the signal. So it's like you are indicating a wrong turn for other people. So yeah, it's not towards my liking. So the next thing is the vibration that comes out from this engine. It's not really that comfortable for long rides because you get numb hands, numb legs, and the vibration will transfer to the foot pegs, especially after 110 kilometers per hour. The vibration is really very bad. That's my honest opinion. The vibration is not what I enjoy on this bike. Next is the eco or sports mode. This actually doesn't make a difference on the performance of the engine. It feels fairly the same in every RPM range, and the response are basically the same for my opinion. So I think that this eco or sport mode is redundant. You can have it there, but it's not gonna do much for you. But for me, I don't think it's doing anything. That's my thoughts about it. So next is the handles are actually very light in feel, and when you're going on high speed, this handle feels wobbly. Yes, you heard me, wobbly. To the extent that if you hit above 160 kph, you are gonna feel that you're having a tank slap. A tank slap is gonna happen soon. So it's really unsafe for speeds above that speed. Yeah, so I think there is something that they can do about it for this handle wobbling issue. If you're having issues with this bike, the overheat light always shows up, especially when you're at a red light for quite some time. It's actually bugging me a lot because it might give me a false information that this engine is going to overheat soon, or is there anything that needs being repaired or replaced. But it is normal for this bike apparently. So once the light turns on, you can actually just cruise around, have some air blowing into the radiator, and the light will automatically turns off. So it's like it's not really suitable for long stops on the traffic light, and especially on a hot day. The weight of this bike is only 150 kilograms, but when you're handling it, it feels more than 150. And on my MT-07, it's 179 kilos, but it is lighter than this Zontes. Even when you're pushing it or on the bike, like you're trying to make your bike straight, this will require more force to do that. For example, when I'm trying to push the bike around. or trying to tilt the bike upright. So next you can see that this meter actually shows the gear. So once you change it, you can see the average kilometers per how many liters per 100 kilometers, or the fuel level left in the tank. But once you change it, you can't see the gear that you are in. So that's a little bit inconvenience for us to know which gear are we while looking at the average or the fuel level or the EFIA. So this is actually something that Zontes could have like replaced the gear over here or anywhere else that it doesn't switched away when we are trying to toggle around with the meter. And then next, this bike has the odometer and the trip meter, but there is only one trip meter, one and only. So if you want to have one more, there's no option for that. So I think it's a good thing to try to add one more trip meter for us, because it will be useful for travelers. For example, not necessarily for the per tank use, or maybe tire or engine oil. So in my opinion, they should have more than one or at least two trip meters for this bike. So the next thing I would like to mention about is the seat. It is considered quite a hard seat for a touring bike. So because on a touring bike, you'll be expected to have several hours of riding on this bike. So if it's not soft enough, I think it will be causing the discomfort of your butt or the arse. So yeah, I think Zontes can do something about it to soften the seat, or you change the material of the foam. So the next thing that I dislike about the Zontes 310 is, you see, when we have the keys, we can just turn off the ignition and move the bike around without worrying about the handle being locked. But for the Zontes, once you switch the ignition off, and the moment you tilt the handle like this, you can't pull it back because it will lock automatically. That's the downside of the Zontes 310, because sometimes you can't turn off the ignition just to push the bike around. You have to turn it on and leave it on. If not, it will lock itself. So that's the bad thing, and the thing that bugs me a lot, because I usually push around the bikes a lot. So this is the thing that I really dislike about the Zontes. And I still love the key, the traditional keys on the other bikes. And the 12th thing that I dislike most about is the sound of the engine or the exhaust. So it's really like a scooter sounding like. So I think they can do something about the exhaust flow. So here, I'll let you guys listen to the example sound of the exhaust. So the last thing that I want to mention, that what I dislike the most about this bike is the light. It's not really that bright, especially on the road. So even with high beam on, it's not really as bright as we are expecting it to be, because it has the projection headlights, which we have high expectation from projected LED headlights. So this is what you get from the Zontes. They can do better. they can have at least a better, brighter, higher lumen bulb to compensate. As you can know that not all places are brightly lit, so it requires a bit of a downward beam because the beams are not really shining on the road that effectively. So that's all for today. These are the 13 things that I dislike about the Zontes. So stay tuned for more videos and goodbye.